I'm with Giles today. We're in Ocean Village Marina in Southampton. Hello, Giles.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And I see you've got a Prestige 520S.
Indeed, yes. That's the coupe version of the 520 Prestige, and we've had it a year now.
So did you buy it brand new?
Yes, we did, yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we bought a brand new, took delivery of her in April of last year. We had a Beneteau GT40 before that,
okay.
A number of boats before that, but this was the boat that sort of ticks all our boxes and does what we want it to do. So
brilliant. Okay, well maybe we could have a look on board and perhaps you can explain what it is that you want it to do, and then
absolutely.
We can see how it
Please
works for you.
Board.
Fantastic.
We have the high-low platform on the back, which is very useful.
Yeah.
And because we went for the option of the barbecue, the little beach club on the back there, which I can show you in a moment.
Yep.
We put it onto Hurley Davit, so it moves it out on the platform, which means we can walk behind it and use the barbecue.
Well, that's a good idea.
Very easily, and yet we still have the benefit of the high-low platform.
Yeah.
Which works extremely well.
That's brilliant.
Right. Yes, this is the barbecue that I mentioned. We had this on the GT40, and quite often, you know, the option is to have the barbecue inside.
Yeah.
But we have done that, and we just never used it because you feel like with smoke, you get dirt on the floor. You know, here it's perfect. I can still talk to if we have guests on board. I can cook. We're well away from it all, and it works extremely well. That's brilliant. Yeah, they've only started doing this recently, haven't they? A lot of boats, yes. And I think it's a really good idea. Yeah, it is a very good idea. Yeah, it works extremely well. It's one of those things that makes you think somebody who's done some boating has thought of that. Very much so. Yes, that's right.
Fantastic.
Come on board. So we've got a lovely big cockpit, which of course it shares with the flybridge version, but you don't have the steps, and you have a much bigger area that's covered. We put this canopy on, and when the canopy is fully enclosed, it's a huge area. I was going to leave one of the sides on just so you could see how it worked, because we've got zipped up side doors and that sort of thing, but it's so warm today that I haven't. But
no, very wise.
But it's a beautiful area, and you know, in the UK, you know, I know it's wonderful today, but we don't enjoy this climate very often. Yeah. So it's great to have this as another room, if you like, within the boat. Makes sense. It does. And of course it protects it all, I guess, when you're not using the boat. It's all enclosed, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yeah. Although I'm told this is all waterproof. You never. Yeah. It's but nice they get grubby, don't they? Yes, they do. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. We went for the we call it the slave cabin, but the crew cabin option, which actually we do use very occasionally because it is a big crew cabin and it has its own ensuite. Right. So you can use it as and maybe a bit later on, you know, you can have a look down there and see what you think. Yeah, brilliant. So, presumably you don't run with the crew though. No, absolutely not. No. In fact, I've spec'd this boat so I can single-hand it and do on a fairly regular basis. Oh, fantastic. We've got the Volvo dynamic positioning system, which works extremely well. Yeah. Because when you turn up to a marina, one of the biggest problems is you're trying to sit there to get fenders and ropes out, you're having to leave the helm, and the tide, wind, you get blown all over the place. So if you can just position it in one place, get all your fenders and ropes out, and then it's brilliant. It works extremely well. It's like a GPS handbrake, isn't it? It is, absolutely. It works extremely well. Fantastic. Yes. Shall we have a wander through the inside then? Perhaps you can show us what it's all about. Absolutely. So this is your main saloon, and it has, as a lot of Prestiges do, the aft galley, which is fantastic. It means that you can still use the galley. If you have people on board, you're not, as my wife says, she's not disconnected from everybody, which is why we really don't have the flybridge. We don't like the flybridge. That's one of the reasons, because everyone tends to be on the flybridge, and then the poor person that's doing the catering and the cooking is down below doing whatever they have to do. And also we have a dog, so that makes it slightly more difficult to get up and down on the flybridge. So. That's interesting, because I was wondering about that. I was going to ask you that a bit later, why you went for the non-flybridge version. And obviously there is benefits to both, otherwise they wouldn't make it. But it's interesting to hear what they are from an owner's perspective. Most people buy flybridge boats in this country, which always surprises me, because they spend probably 90% of the time covered up and not being used. Yeah, we never have been a fan of flybridge for that very reason. You know, you're upstairs driving, and if the weather isn't great, you know, if you're not using the internal helm, you're out there on your own because everyone else is down here. Yes, I have seen that actually. Some of the sea boats going along, and the poor blokes, usually is the bloke, is sat up on top on his own. Everyone else is down. Yeah, and everyone else is down here sheltered. That's right. So yeah, no, I can get that completely. Yeah. So the galley is very well equipped. You've got a massive fridge freezer, which is marvellous. And a decent freezer, so when you're going away for a period you can use it. You've got a nice induction hob, Beely oven, and a dishwasher here. So it is catered for doing long range cruising, which is what we use it for basically.
Excellent.
It has, we spec'd it with the cutlery, so it comes with the proper cutlery drawer.
Oh, nice.
And,
Yeah, that looks good.
Plates and everything. So everything is put away nicely.
Yeah.
And everything has a place, which is great. Well, it's necessary on a boat.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? If you can package stuff properly, know where it is, that's half the battle.
Yes, very much so. Drinks cabinet here, very important part of the inventory.
Of course. It's not the most important.
Absolutely. Here we have most of your controls hidden away. So controls for your heating. This has hydroponic heating, so it circulates water throughout the boat, and then you can pick and choose in each cabin what temperature and what fan speed. It's a bit like climate control in a car, really. You just set the temperature that you want it to maintain, and it does it independently for each cabin, which works extremely well. And then you have the Prestige little unit that tells you about power and water and tanks and batteries and all that sort of thing, all in one place, inverter control. So it's very well spec'd from that point of view.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, and a nice big open area, and when you're using the helm, obviously at the moment we're not, so we've got the seat in this position, because you can then, everyone's sitting around, you know, in a social gathering.
It is a very social layout, actually.
It is very social layout, but you can push this button, and if you're going to use the helm, it then converts it into a helm seat.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Which is marvellous. Yeah, it works both ways. There.
Excellent.
Okay.
And of course it's just the single helm on this one, isn't it?
Yes,
using the slide bridge, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're inside all the time. Although you do have the opening roof, which of course you don't have on the flybridge. And it's got that lovely noise, which I know you enjoy.
Oh yes.
And when you take your finger off, it sounds like it's dying.
Yes.
I'm not going to open all that all the way because it is so warm out there. But yeah, with that open, actually, it's quite a nice breeze coming.
It is, yeah.
I'll leave that as it is.
Yeah.
With that open fully, you are more or less sitting outside.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, but actually quite well protected as well, because the screens are very high around you, aren't they?
And it's a very dry boat. It's got quite a flared bow, so you don't get much water over the front at all, even if it's a bit choppy.
Jeannot and Prestige, because they're kind of part of the same group, aren't they?
They are part of the same group, yes.
They're brilliant at that,
They
actually.
are.
My boat, which is a tiny little thing compared to this, obviously, it always amazes me. We've been out in with big following sea, and you come roaring down a wave and go stuff yourself at the back of the next one, and you sort of duck instinctively, and all the water goes out sideways.
It does. Yes, it's a very good design, and I suspect the design is sort of shared throughout the size of, it doesn't matter what the size of the boat is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it works very well.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier about me single-handing the boat, and the other thing that I needed, if I was going to do that, is the side access door.
Right.
Which this has, straight out onto the side deck, right by the centre cleat. So once I get a centre line on, you're done really. You don't go anywhere, and then I can do the rest at my leisure.
Absolutely.
Which works very well.
Brilliant.
Okay, we have a television up here as well, which we have our onboard Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi network, so that connects into that and works.
So you can watch Aquaholic.
Indeed, yes, on YouTube.
Excellent.
The days of satellite TV, I think, on boats are gone, really.
Yeah.
These big domes on the top with all the tracking devices, you don't need it anymore.
No, absolutely.
Okay, right, shall we go? This is the guest, as you probably know, Prestige have two stairways. It's one of their sort of signature things. This is the guest side, so if we go down here, this is the guest heads and doubles up as a day heads as well. Okay.
That's a nice size, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
It's still a decent shower, but the side that it just folds out. The glass sides fold out to form the shower.
Brilliant.
This is my daughter's room.
What
you call the VIP room, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is a good size. It's it's lovely because you've got plenty of ventilation. And at the moment we've got the sun cushions on. With the centre sun cushion removed, you've got loads of light because there's a big window there, which is good. Yeah. It's got a little TV tucked around the corner as well. So.
Brilliant.
Yes, she loves this area. And of course it has the second door, the Juliet door, I think you call it, don't you?
Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill door, that's right. To go through, so once that door's shut in the evening, she has her own ensuite.
Lovely. Yeah, that's really nice. There's some nice lighting in here as well. I like the way they've done this down the edges and around the headboard and so on.
Yeah,
it's all very subtle, isn't it?
And you still have your the bedside reading lights as well.
Yeah. It's just a bit more subtle than just having the bulbs, belting out into sort of.
This is a fairly new thing, isn't it? Lots of boat manufacturers are doing it now. LED, of course, they're low wattage, but it works very well.
I think there's a couple of things that have transformed boat interiors. One is flat screen TVs.
Yes.
You know, a few years ago, suddenly those great big CRT TVs didn't need to be accommodated anymore.
No.
And the other is LED lighting.
Yes.
Because firstly, from what you can actually do with it, as we can see here, but secondly, from the low draw aspect, you can have it all on, and you're not thinking that's going to flatten the batteries in an hour.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is fantastic. It makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
Because you say if you're anchored somewhere, I mean, we have our own generator, but if you don't want to run the generator, you know, you can last at least 48 hours without having to recharge the batteries. Which is
Brilliant.
marvellous.
Yeah,
Good.
totally.
Right behind you is the third cabin.
Okay.
It's a twin.
I'll poke my camera in here and have a little look. Well, that's a decent size, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. And obviously these would they'd use the day heads during the night.
Yes, they do.
As it
They
were.
share the day ahead if you have someone in here. The other nifty thing, down here you've got a little bolt, you can lift the bolt. It's not as flash as some of the Princess and Sunseekers, sadly, because you have to do it manually. But if you lift that bolt, that whole bed slides across and makes a double.
Yeah.
And then you have exactly the same layout with the cupboard and things, but on this side then.
Brilliant.
So
and not to cast any aspersions at all, but that will never ever go wrong, will it?
absolutely.
I'm not suggesting that any others would. I'm just saying that won't.
No,
Yeah.
it won't. That's right. While we're here,
Yeah.
I will show you another little nifty thing which we've.
Oh, look at
Specs.
that.
So you've got a washer dryer.
You know you've arrived when you've got a washer dryer on board, don't you?
And we use it as well.
Really?
Yeah, it works extremely well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Making use of good space.
Yeah, totally. And that, of course, runs off the 240 volts, so generator
Yes.
or shore power, I guess.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe a tour around the decks.
Yeah,
Show
well, we
you
could
on
look
deck.
at perhaps the owner's cabin as well, maybe.
Oh, do you know what? I'd forgotten about that.
Not to tell you about your own boat, you understand?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Please do come down. On the way down, we've got these two cupboards here. One is all your electronics for your 24 volt,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
which is nice and easily accessible.
Yeah.
And the other one is 240 volt. Again, all your switch gear for the 240 volt.
Brilliant. Yeah. Makes sense.
Do come, because this is the other one that sold it to my wife as well. She loves this. Absolutely loves it.
Why
And it
wouldn't
is a
you?
beautiful, place. It really is a place to be.
Yeah.
You've got an extremely big wardrobe on this side.
Oh, yes, I think I remember this. Yeah, it's huge, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely massive.
Yeah. And they've done well with the headroom, actually, haven't they? Because they've sunk
have.
the floor in the centre, and then as you go up at the edges, the ceiling goes up with you.
It does, yes. Wouldn't it be lovely to have a flat floor? And I know on some of the bigger boats you do,
Yeah.
but you have to go quite a lot bigger, I think, to get
Exactly. And ultimately, if you're going to put a flat floor in, you just got to push the ceiling up. And if you push the ceiling up, then you've got the floor above is higher. And if you push that up, then the roof
so it
above
goes
goes
on.
up, and so it goes on.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's
So that's the compromise, isn't it? You've got to
is.
decide what you want, and,
Yeah.
and whether it's looks or whether it's
Yes.
somewhere in between.
That's right. And we have our own ensuite here,
Lovely.
which is there.
Again, some lovely lighting in there.
Nice big shower.
Yeah. Very nice. And you use the showers on board, I take it?
Yes, we do.
You don't head ashore and use the marina
I do
facilities?
sometimes.
Uh-huh.
My wife always uses the shower on board, but I occasionally will stroll up and use the facilities because most marinas you visit, the facilities actually are very good.
Yeah.
And it means then we both get showered together and then we go off and walk the dog or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we do use them on board. We don't, it's not as though we just use them for show.
No.
But they work extremely well.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Well, let's have a wander around the outside then.
Okay.
I will follow you.
Right, no problem. This has a very slightly asymmetric deck.
Okay.
So this side is the side that you would mainly use because it's slightly wider.
Yep.
That side is perfectly usable, but it is slightly narrower.
Right.
There's not a massive amount in it, but I think they just did it to try and maximise the amount of space inevitably you have on the boat.
Yeah.
The wider you can get the cabins, the better.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the compromise thing again, isn't it?
Or one other thing, you have this little door here, which is brilliant. If you're moored against a wall, or when I'm refuelling, I run the pipes through there. It just is very useful.
Yeah.
Little thing there. There's your side access door from the helm, so
Yep.
right by the fleet, which is marvellous. And then forward we have sunbathing cushions, which you can use in I've put them in different positions so you can see this one's just props up at the back slightly, that one's gone to full chaise long mode.
Yep.
And that, in fact, we've got that hatch open because because of the heat.
Yes.
Try and get a bit of air through the boat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They do look very, very comfortable.
It is. They are. We spec the holders for the fenders, which is useful.
Yep.
You've got your anchoring gear here, anchor winch, which you can control from here, or indeed control from the helm.
Right.
And we've got a chain counter as well, so you know how much chain you're laying down.
Yeah.
And in this locker here, which is a massive locker, it's a split locker, so you've got your chain in one half, and then you've got loads of room for extra fenders. And also you've got seawater and freshwater outlets there, so we've got deck wash, freshwater and seawater deck wash here.
Right, brilliant. So if you want to hose your anchor chain off, it's been muddy or whatever else,
yes, yeah.
Good to go. Brilliant.
Okay, if we stroll round and go down the other side.
Yep.
You can see it's very slightly narrower. There's not a great deal in it.
No, and as you rightly say, perfectly usable.
Yes. And nice handholds.
Yep.
We have the winches, which are predominantly for use in the Med, of course, when you're stern to berthing.
Yep.
But I do use them occasionally if because the boat is quite heavy. So if there's a bit of a wind blowing, you can use that to pull the boat in, which is useful.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense. Good stuff.
The canopy comes in 3 halves. You've got the back and the 2 sides. And when it's not being used, it's stored up here. That just drops down and we put it up there.
Brilliant! Because that's always the thing. You get them all off and think, "What am I going to do with this now?"
I know. Well, you end up throwing them into the crew cabin or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Shall we have a quick look at the crew cabin as well at this end?
Yes, please do. I'll just move your bag.
Yeah, please do.
You're more than welcome to climb down there if you feel the desire. But it's quite big, and it's got an ensuite at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
Through the door.
Yeah, a big window in there as well. Actually,
there is a very big window, but I use it for storage. I've got the teak chairs there and the Hoover and ladder, and
I do love these Hoovers.
oh, they're brilliant, aren't they?
I've got one at home, and I actually got the idea from going on boats and seeing them on boats.
Yes.
And for wooden floors and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just perfect. And you plop them back in, they recharge.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's got its own toilet with a little shower. It's sort of a wet room, but it works well.
Yeah. So
it's a good place if you've got someone that wants an occasion, just overnight or something, and you're full. Yeah. They can stay there. Or the girlfriend, our daughter's boyfriend, maybe he can stay there.
I understand. Fantastic. And the last thing to look at then perhaps is the engines.
Yes, absolutely, yes. The engine bay is brilliant actually, there's loads of space down there. And typically with all Prestiges it's very well lit as well. Right.
Ah, there we go. So we've got IPS 600s and they are, I think I'm right in saying 440 horsepower each?
That's correct. Yes, it's not the fastest boat in the world, but it will give you 26, 27 knots.
Yeah.
But a cruise of 18 to 20 knots comfortably.
Yeah.
And surprisingly economically, actually.
Okay.
I know IPS helps in that department, but we're with the modern sort of fuel prices.
Yes.
It's any saving you can get is better, but at 18 to 20 knots is the most economical.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, even with faster boats, it's actually what we all do, isn't it?
It is.
We all cruise at 18 to 20. And
we'll
I think
go out, blast it for a few minutes flat out, and then you just settle back to a nice, comfortable cruise.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, it's rarely is it calm enough that you can do much more than that without bashing the boat about, or
and it becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I think we'll start to see more displacement cruising. People say to me, "Do you think the price of fuel going up is going to affect boat sales and boat values and all that?" I don't think it will.
No.
Because it's such a small part of the overall cost. But what I think we'll see is people starting to say, "Do you know what? We'll blast down the coast at 20 knots, but then perhaps after lunch we'll potter back at 10."
Yeah. Yes.
And they'll draw the price, your annual fuel usage back that way.
I totally agree, and it's surprising. You see a lot of the bigger boats out cruising, and they are going slower.
Yeah.
Because it's more comfortable.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, as much as it's a lot of fun to blast along fast, if it's a bit choppy. If you have your wife and daughter on board and indeed the dog, you don't want to put them off boating. And no. I've seen that many times, been put off for life.
Totally.
So yeah, it's a lot more comfortable.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, that's good. That's the engine room. So I think the only thing left is perhaps if we can go inside and have a sit down and have a chat about your boating life. So where did boating start for you?
Boating started for me with a little 16-foot speedboat, little Fletcher, called Shazam, which I bought back in the mid-1990s.
Right.
And enjoyed it immensely. Taught my children to water ski, and we had a really good fun with the boat. Towed it on holiday down to Cornwall, and it was good fun. And it was at that point I was not in the boating world. I was not in the marine world.
Right.
I bought the boat purely because I wanted to enjoy boating.
Yeah.
And had very little experience apart from a few holidays on Lake Windermere with my father and mother, which as a child. But other than that, I had no boating experience.
So what were you doing professionally then?
I mainly the car industry,
right?
To start with. Then bizarrely, I went back to university and did a law degree, and intended going to the bar. That was what I wanted to do, and I passed my law degree and was offered a place at bar school. But at a similar time, I was offered a job just down the road from me, running a marina, because the owner had fallen unwell, and he wanted someone with engineering and also sales experience to come in and run it for him.
Right.
And I got talking to him one day, so it was a choice of either playing with boats at the bottom of the road or indeed going to the bar and maybe or maybe not making it. And I ended up going and playing with boats at the bottom of the road,
right.
And have done ever since.
Wow.
Yes, so we ended up working for a chap that owned a marina, and then after 3 years, my father and I ended up buying the marina.
Wow, so you actually physically own a marina?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes.
And which one is it?
Marina operates. It's Medway Bridge Marina on the Medway in Rochester.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow, fantastic. So presumably that's where you keep your boat?
No, I don't, actually.
Okay.
And I'll say why. I used to keep my boat there many years ago, but one of the problems is that on a regular basis, if we were down enjoying our boating at the weekend, I'd have my family on board, my wife, we would be pestered continually by customers.
Of course.
And I don't mean that in an unpleasant way.
No.
If a customer has a problem, it would be 9 o'clock at night and they come knocking on the side, oh, my electricity's gone off, can you just help me with this, can you just do this?
Yeah.
And do you know what, you don't mind at all, and you will always do it, won't you?
Yeah.
Because they are your customers. But when you're trying to enjoy a weekend away from work,
yes.
So what we ended up doing was renting the space we would normally use to put our boat, and renting a space at a Chatham Marina, the MDL Marina,
okay.
Which actually gives us not only the fact that we're away and we're just another boater, but we have the benefit of freedom berthing. So we go to places like this and it doesn't cost us anything.
Brilliant.
Which is a big benefit to us because we do use our boat a lot. We cruise around all over the place. So.
Fantastic. So after the Fletcher?
After the Fletcher, well, I will wind right forward now to this boat and explain how we got there, because this boat's called Number 10, as you probably noticed on our way in. Our last boat was called Not For Sale, as in KNOT, number 4 and then SAIL. Because my wife was fed up with us having a boat and then me selling it. We're in the boating world, of course, and everything's always for sale, isn't it? And someone would offer us a good price for the boat and it would end up going. And we were just, we thought about Not For Sale 2 or whatever. And then a friend of ours' son he said, well, how many boats have you had? And I said, well, this will be my 10th boat. He said, well, why don't you call it Number 10? Yeah. And I thought about it. I thought, do you know what? Actually, that's really good. I can hear yourself saying that on the radio, because that's the other thing to consider when you're naming a boat. Completely. And then I said, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Number 10 of London was available? Because it won't be, Yeah. So we checked with the MCA and blow me down, it was. No one had it. So we thought, well, we've got to have Number 10 of London. So that's what we did. Fantastic. So going back to your original question, the Fletcher was followed by another Fletcher, slightly bigger, but with an inboard engine. Then we had a Regal, I believe. And then we had, after the Regal, a Scarab, which was great fun. Proper Miami Vice machine. Absolutely, yes. Straight through pipes out the back. It was just fantastic. My wife hated it with a passion. I was about to ask. Yes, because you couldn't talk. But she'd do 50, 60 knots, but you couldn't talk. It was impossible. You got places very fast, but in total silence. At least as far as conversation went. Well, yes, absolutely, yes. And what would you do after that? Blimey, I should have got the list out, shouldn't I? But we had a succession of different boats. We got involved with Beneteau as a manufacturer. Then we became a Beneteau man agent.
Right.
So we had a succession of Beneteaus, Monte Carlo 32. GT 38, then we had a GT 40, and I know I've probably missed a few boats out there, but it was at that point when my wife and we realised that with our youngest daughter about to go off to university, we wanted to spend more time on the boat, and we needed something that was bigger and was more capable on long runs, and also was you had the space to put things, which is the biggest challenge on a boat, of course, when you're going away for any
100%.
long period of time.
It's funny you say that. I had a conversation with Marianne only at the weekend, and I said, we need to go down to our boat. We need to take every single thing out of the cabin, pile up in the cockpit and say, do we really need that? Do we really need that? Because you're right, the storage is everything. And we've got to the point with ours now where we know we've got the hook pin flange wheel, we just don't know where the hell it is because it's buried behind everything else. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you on the storage.
One thing actually that I forgot to mention on this boat, because as we walked in, there's a massive locker in the floor for occasional stuff. So we put food down there that we don't need on a daily basis. There's kitchen utensils that we don't need on a daily basis, but it's a massive compartment. I think it was originally designed for a life raft in there, but we don't use it for a life raft because we've got the tender on the back.
Yeah.
We use it for storage.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up with this boat and number 10. And I suspect this will probably be our last boat.
Famous last boat.
We always say that, though. Yeah, we were only looking at one of your videos. I think it was the new Squadron 68.
That's lovely.
And my wife loved the utility room with the fold-out ironing board.
Yeah.
She said, I've got to have one of those. So, yeah.
Brilliant. And what do you use this for? Where do you go? I mean, because when did you actually buy it? You did tell me at the beginning, and I can't remember.
I bought it in April last year, or took delivery of her in April last year.
So you've had just over a year?
Yes, we had just over a year. We've done, in our first year, we tend to take the boat out of the water. I mean, she came out of the water end of December. Mid-December, I should say, before Christmas anyway.
Yeah.
And we did a few trips to St Cat's in December with some friends. And then she was out the water in Ipswich, because that's where the supplying dealer is based, having some warranty work done, and she went back in the water in March. So for those 3 months she's generally, and I tend to do that. I think boats need to come out of the water for a period of time every year. You know, at the end of the day, they're glass fibre, they're porous, you can't get away from that fact.
Yeah.
And it's good, does them good to have a chance to dry out.
Yeah.
And my wife and I tried the boating thing in the depths of winter. We did St Catherine's Dock for New Year one time, which was good fun.
Yeah.
But I will never forget, I was at the helm, my wife was out doing the ropes, of course she was, and she was standing there all wrapped up with gloves on, and she held up the rope as she'd taken it off, and it just stayed straight because it was frozen solid.
Yeah.
And I was inside with the heating on, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't tend to do boating in the depths of winter.
No.
But yeah, we use it. We did over 100 hours in our first year.
Wow.
With this boat, and in fact here we are sitting in Ocean Village, having come down from Chatham, stopping at quite a few places on the way and enjoying the different locations where we enjoy stopping, and then this evening we're off to Yarmouth on the Isle of Wight overnight, and then we're off to the Channel Islands.
Fantastic.
So
yeah, that's great. And any big plans? Have you got anything anywhere you'd really like to go?
We have talked, and one day we'll do, I'm sure, the round Britain, the figure of 8 round Britain. So up the east coast, through the Caledonian Canal, round Scotland, back down through the Caledonian Canal, and then down the west coast. That's what we'd love to do. Just taking our time, stopping at places if we like it, staying there. Boating in Scotland is fantastic. I've got several friends in the marine world in Scotland, and we occasionally go up and have a long weekend on a boat somewhere doing the islands, and it's marvellous. And back in 2000 I did the Round Scotland powerboat race, which was fantastic fun.
Wow.
So yeah, that's probably the biggest plan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you say that, because I did some writing for MBY, as you know, and we had somebody who did, I think they were from sort of Scandinavia somewhere, and they brought a boat over, and they'd always wanted to go right around the whole of British Isles. And so they did, and they spent, I don't know, a year, 18 months doing it. And they wrote about it in the magazine as a series as a couple of years ago. But what I've always remembered about it is they said the most beautiful areas was the west coast of Scotland and the southwest coast of England, which is where I am, of course. So we
Yes.
always feel quite sort of humbled that somebody who is completely from outside of the country goes around. But yeah, he was saying very much about Scotland, the west coast of Scotland is just amazing.
It is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, we have a friend based in Largs and run out of there to the different islands, and it is just quite stunning. It really is. And I know they don't enjoy such good weather as us, but the scenery is just so breathtaking. It really is. And you're very sheltered actually, so even if the weather's quite bad, you can still troll around through the islands. It's marvellous.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. I think we've pretty much covered it.
I think we have, yes.
Yeah. Now I've got something for you. Bear with me, because it's out here in Jack le Sac. There we go. There's a company called Carabar, and they wrote to me and said, would you like some Carabars for your Meet the Owner owners?
Oh, okay.
And so they sent me a load of these, and these are special edition,
Fantastic.
alcoholic Carabars. They don't sell these. They do sell Carabars, they don't sell
Yes.
alcoholic ones. And the idea of these is you pop them on your table, and then your wine glasses don't spill,
Fantastic.
because they sit in there,
Yeah.
and your nibbles sit in the middle.
Marvellous.
That's all yours.
Oh, that's really good. That's kind of you. Thank you
It's
very
a
much
pleasure.
indeed.
No problem at all. Brilliant. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that one. I think that's been absolutely fascinating. It's always great to catch up with an owner. As ever, let us know what you think in the comments, and we will look forward to catching you on another one of these real soon. Thank you very much, Giles.
Thank you.